How's it going, everyone? Week 3 here with Coach Slopek. Coach, big win, 20-7 win over Brookfield. Before we get started, we just had two great interviews with two great players. I know you wanted to say a little bit about them before.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you again. Brody and Johnny, have done such a great job moving kind of into new roles this year as seniors in terms of where they're playing for us. We've had our in the first week we had two of our captains. In the second week we had our other two captains, and those guys have done a great job of leading and everything like that. But these two guys, they may not be elected as captains, but they're certainly leaders on our team. I couldn't be prouder of the effort that they've given and the selflessness that they've displayed. And they're ascending players. They're getting better and better every week at their positions, and so really, looking forward to see how they progress throughout the year.
Coach, thank you. And I could just tell from talking to them, they were two great guys to have in the locker room. And
Absolutely.
but moving on, we got week 2. You guys just finished up a big win over Brookfield. You guys improved to 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, give us your breakdown on that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a game that we got better. We talk a lot about making new mistakes, each week. So we still have a lot to clean up and a lot to get better at, but we did fix some of our mistakes that really, I think, cost us the game in week 1. And so that was good to see that sort of progression. I'd be remiss if I thought Brookfield did a fantastic job. They were down 2 of their better players in the game due to injury and things like that. Certainly Coach Clark and their staff, they're not going to make any excuses. I thought their kids played tremendously hard and did a great job with a little shorthanded. And so, they certainly were quite a task for us. And, another great team that we schedule out of league to kind of prepare us for the rigors of things going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good Brookfield team. Even despite they had they played 2 tough opponents in the first 2 weeks with you guys, and then the loss early on. I believe that was to Hubbard. Yeah, so that's a tough team. They're playing up in that one.
Certainly.
So definitely a good win for you guys and a way to get the season started. And Coach, congratulations to you. It's your first win as a head coach.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about that too long. But what's it mean to get the seniors their first win of the season?
That. I know it might sound self-serving to say that but I really didn't. Everyone after the game, a bunch of people after the game, oh, it's your first win. I don't really care. For me, it was the first time that our seniors get to go up on the rock. You know what I mean? Like, underclassmen kind of gather around it. The seniors get to go up on it and put the flag up, which I think is like the coolest post-game tradition I've ever been a part of. And so, like, to get to see those guys up there, I just kind of sat on the side and watched that, and that's really what means more to me than anything, personally, I guess. But and I know that probably sounds like I'm being fake humble, but it really, it really is the truth.
No, not at all. I think it just shows that what's most important here with coaching high school football, it's the group of guys and just making sure being a leader for them. Mm-hmm. And that's a great answer, I think. But looking ahead, your offense, they were able to score 20. You guys were held to 7 the week before. What do you guys think you did to improve and make those adjustments?
Yeah, we talked a lot about throughout the course of the week discipline and staying disciplined to the rules of our plays, to the responsibilities that you have to do. And when you're out there, you are one of 11 guys. And if you try to do too much, or if you don't do what you're supposed to do, that is kind of a domino effect all throughout, and it offensively and defensively. And we talked about throughout at the end of the week last week. There's two types of pain in life. There's the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And if you suffer through the pain of discipline, then you won't have to worry about the pain of regret. But it's a choice all the time, and so you have choices to make. Like, well, I'd rather do this. I'd rather jog through this in practice rather than go through it full speed, or I'd rather, it's easier to take the inside release rather than, even though the coach has been telling me I have to release outside on this route or whatever it is, and so we talked about just being more disciplined in our approach, and I think Coach Franklin is doing a great job of calling the offense and trying to find our best ways to get our best players, in situations where they can make plays, and we've said from the very beginning, we started talking about things that had to be, the offense was less about plays. It's first about players, and then you try to put them in formations where they can make some, where they might have an advantage, and then the plays come after that. There's not like a set in stone system that has to be run. It's like, how do we get our best players the opportunity? How can we get our guys to do what they can do well? And it's an evolving sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think one thing we talked about last week with the offense was just the red zone attempts. You guys had some failed conversions in the red zone, and we talked about it. Your guys even mentioned it was the first thing that needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
What did you see maybe in practice or in the game execution-wise that really helped clean those up?
Well, one of the things, that I do each week is I have a captain's meeting on Wednesday, and they were like, Coach, you got to threaten us. And I said, well, I'd rather not, but so like we did a red zone period last week where, any mistake, any error whatsoever, it was an up down, and by the time, and I'd do them with them, and by the time we got done, we did 9. All right. And I said, if you think that stinks, try being 0-2, because that's going to stink a whole lot more. And so like after when I talked to the captains on Wednesday, like, Coach, you got to threaten us. So we'll be doing that again tomorrow. It just, I guess it sort of forces everyone to focus in a little bit tighter.
And moving on to the other side of the ball, defense, another low-scoring affair that you guys. You held them to 7. You've only allowed 17 points on the season.
Yeah.
And Brookfield can put some points up on the board. I know you talked about some injuries, but what did you like about your defensive effort this game?
Our defensive effort, and it's very similar to the offense. When we talk about, it's about being we talk about it on defense. Our slogan, is 11 is 1, and it's although each of that being 1/11th and doing what you have to do. And I think if you look at the way the game unfolded, anytime there was a crack for Brookfield, they were able to exploit it. If we didn't have exactly where we were supposed to be. And it wasn't for lack of effort, you know what I mean? It was just things happen sometimes. And so I think the best thing that we do, and it's really a tribute to our players, is about, refocusing and playing the next play. They're all the time. It's almost like they're like, Coach, I'm sorry. It's like, you don't have to apologize to me. Just do it better the next time, know. And so like they're conscientious. They're trying. Their effort is unbelievable. And I've said before, like if we play with great effort, we're going to have a really good chance in each of our games. But if we play with better execution, we're going to make some noise. We'll have a chance to win every game. And so I think that's been kind of the key. Defense, a lot of it is things that don't take much talent. Being aligned properly, communicating properly, putting your eyes in the right space, and then just running like heck to the ball. That's really how you can play good defense. And those things don't really take a whole lot of talent.
No, and I think in talking, we had 2 defensive guys on the air tonight. The word they used was aggressive to describe the defense. And do you feel that that intensity is being matched with on the side? Is that what's working for you guys, the aggressiveness?
I've coached defenses where we kind of just sat in a static front and read our keys and played really good defense that way. Me personally, with this group, I think we're better if we're on the move, if we're going, if we start them, in that aggressive sort of mindset. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can play good defense, but it always comes down to whether you're attacking and blitzing or whether you're sitting back and reading your keys. It's going to be about leveraging the ball. Where is the ball? Am I supposed to turn the ball into my help? Am I supposed to am I supposed to be an inside out player? And if you can get the guys to understand that, whether they're blitzing, whether they're rushing, whether they are sitting and reading, you have a chance to, and then if you can tackle, you have a chance to be a good defense. And we put a premium on tackling. We did some pretty intense tackling today.
And moving on, you guys, Garfield coming up this week. You want to just talk about that game quickly? What are you looking for in that, or what do you expect?
Yeah, like I'm excited in a lot of ways. First, there's 2 Springfield Tigers on the Garfield staff, and guys that they told me, like, Coach, I don't want to play you. I don't want to, we can't wait for this series to be over because we don't want to play against you and everything like that. Guys, it's not that big of a deal. But it'll be great to see them. And I see, like, especially the one, that's calling their defense, and I just am so proud of him, and he goes back to, a long time ago. I think he graduated in like 2008. You know what I mean? So just to see where he's become as a coach and as a father and everything like that, it's awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. And on the other hand, I'm a historian of football, and they run the single wing offense, which not as popular in 2025. But if you go back about 100 years ago and you get like Yale versus Harvard, or the Carlisle, Indian school featuring Jim Thorpe and Pop Warner as the coach, running the single wing, and they do it really well. I mean, really well. So it's quite a challenge, and really looking forward to it. I talked to their coach earlier, and I was like, man, I'm not trying to be patronizing. You guys are awesome. And that's who we want. That's the kind of games we want to play against. We want to play against teams that do things the right way, because we'll either win or we'll learn, and so I'm really excited about them because they play really good football there.
And, Coach, what's your 3 keys to victory this week?
I think number one is being able to control the ball offensively and get first downs, and then when we get into the red zone, being able to punch things in and finish. They always say, like, the key to playing good defense is to play less defense. If your defense isn't out there, if your offense is able to possess the ball more, you'll have a good chance. And that was the case on Friday. Even though we still left some scoring opportunities on the field, we could possess the ball really well. So that's number one. I think number two is not being mystified by the different formations and things like that we see, and making sure we pay attention to our keys. They're different keys than what maybe we would see in a more popular offense of today, but there certainly are still keys there to see, and making sure we have that. And then just to continue in all 3 phases of the game to play as hard as we can. And to not let the emotional roller coaster of the game get too high or too low. We talk always about the next play is the most important play. So if everything went great, awesome. Doesn't matter. The next play. All right. If things go poorly, if the other team executes really well and they make a good play, flush it. Doesn't matter. It's the next play is the most important play. And and I know that's kind of cliched coach speak, but like that is a message that we try to impart and hammer home a lot. So those 3 things, if we do those sorts of things and we follow that process, I don't say we're going to win or we're going to lose. I say you'll be proud of the effort. You'll be proud of your effort. And the scoreboard will take care of itself.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on this week. Coach Slopek, everyone, best of luck this week against Brookfield, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.